And so the idea of sacred rebellion is if you have the capacity, and this is only if somebody has the capacity to do it, but if you can sit and watch extreme acts and sit and hold space for it with love and compassion for both sides without taking a side specifically, like that is one of the most powerful acts of sacred rebellion that exist.
Welcome back to the Power and Purpose podcast. I am Vanessa Soul, your host. Thank you so much for joining us here and investing your time and your energy into tuning in to today's episode. I truly appreciate it. I am super excited for today's guest. We have Io Ash Misako. She's a channel, psychic, intuition coach, and guide in the subtle realms. Io, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited to join.
Absolutely. I love to ask people, and this can be philosophical, spiritual, however your heart desires to answer this. Who are you and who are you not?
I've already watched a couple of your episodes, so I knew this was coming up, and I kind of laughed because of it. So my name, Io Ash Misako, is IAM. Those are my initials. So everything about me, I've gone through some pretty big transformative times where I am everything and I am nothing. So I went through this whole like long thing where it's like, if there was an ellipses at the end of I am, what would I fill it with? And I went through a whole period of stripping it all back. Like, I am a psychic. No. I am a daughter. No. Like, getting rid of all self identification whatsoever. So I would say it's both. It's paradoxical, like the world we live in.
Yes. And I always enjoy those answers because it's true. It's like one of the deepest truths. And sure, we have avatars and costumes and identities that we could try on for size. It's all an experience. But underneath all of that is like the I am. And I didn't even catch that, by the way, your initials. I'm looking at your name on the Zoom. I could literally see IAM. So beautiful. How did that come about, by the way? Is this your birth name?
So it's an amalgamation of my birth name and my chosen name. So Misako is original. It was originally my middle name that now became my last name. Ash is a certain version of my first name, and then Io was my chosen. Because I always knew I like am like that was always my initials, and then I was like, there's something missing out of that. And it's like, oh, I'm missing my I. I'm missing like my center core beingness. And I never liked my original birth name. So I remember when I
Mm,
was 4, I was like, I want to change my name. I hate my name. Like, it's like you're 4, kid. How do you hate your name?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I love how we get to evolve into these soul selected names, though. They're so special.
Yeah.
Absolutely so special. So I would love to talk to you about your journey, just so we could understand, who you were before this version of you emerged. And we are all always emerging and evolving. But I know you went through a divorce and some LD or LSD trips, community supports, self diving. That sounds so interesting. So, was that all part of your journey leading up to where you are now? And I would love to hear a little bit more about that.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think that is with everybody that finds this path. I was very blessed to have an early start with it. When I was 7 and 8, I was going to meditation classes. I got my first tarot deck gifted to my mom when I was like 9 years old. I had my first past life regression at 8, which was absolutely terrible and very, very hard. And then 20s, right? We all rebel. Most of us rebel, not everybody. But I rebelled and I rebelled hard. And that meant going to a very analytical side, very science based approach. If it didn't have empirical evidence, I didn't want to hear about it. And then ended up going through a very brutal divorce. And that rocked me to my core. We're talking suicidal ideation, actually, attempts as well. I was hospitalized, and ended up just having to leave everything, strip my entire life back. And since then, it's been really interesting. I'm like, do we really have to have a dark night of the soul? Is that really freaking necessary? I like, haven't enough of us had enough dark nights that like the others can have like a little bit of grace and compassion and like ease in their awakenings? So I've kind of been on a little bit of a fountain of youth type hunt for that for others.
Was that a serious inquiry when you asked yourself or the universe, do we really have to have a dark night of the soul? Or was that more of just like a different question?
Question
Which
is, is cursing allowed?
yes.
Fuck yes. Fuck yes. Like that was, I don't ask anything lightly. I'm the type
Okay.
of person, I'm the friend that if I call you and I go, how are you doing? I don't want to be like, oh yeah, gas was good and I'm fine. I'm like, no, like, are you having like what's actually happening in your life? I don't ask anything lightly, you
Yeah.
know, like at all.
Right,
So
right. Good to know.
yeah.
And I just thought I didn't know if it was like a rhetorical question. I couldn't figure out that word, but rhetorical questions. But no, that's a serious question.
Yeah.
And before we move on, I'm scared to say this because I don't know how people are going to take this, but I'm not sure if I've had a dark night of the soul. Doesn't mean I haven't had challenges. I don't know how far back you went to listen to my episodes in like the pre version, pre 2.0 Vanessa. It's like party life and all of that, but it didn't feel like the dark night of the soul. I don't really identify that with that. Doesn't mean I wasn't like, lost or anything. It's just, it felt like a fun part of my life. So that question that you just asked is really valuable. I don't know what are your thoughts so far?
I mean, everything's a spectrum. My dark night of the soul is not going to look like your dark night of the soul, right? Like my dark night of the soul came with suicide attempts and hospitalization and, burning my entire life to the ground. Some other people's dark nights ended up with, rock bottom places from alcoholism or drug addiction. Other people, I'm meeting kids nowadays, sorry, kids, 20 something year olds that I've had as clients that have zero karmic pasts. Zero. They don't have to pay in anything. They're done. And it's like, what am I supposed to do? What's my soul journey? I'm like, go eat really good food and travel. Like, go have fun. Like, so everybody's different. Like,
Yeah.
nobody's going to look the same. Right. And nobody necessarily has to have one that looks like another. Like, if you have a dark night of the soul. Like, I will say
Hmm.
that. So maybe you haven't yet, and maybe you don't have to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, doesn't mean I haven't had karmic lessons because I don't think that's the same thing. I mean, karmic lessons could be embedded in there, but I'm just clarifying though for the listeners. I'm not perfect. I'm not claiming to be. If you've listened to at least a couple episodes, I've been on a wild journey. It's just it all fell, and maybe that's just my perspective. Maybe I went through like 2 or 3 dark nights of the soul, and I'm just so optimistic that it didn't feel like it. Who knows, right? It's all perspective at the end of the day. So I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there. So anyway, before I go down through that tangent, what is embracing our weird, and how is that the path to authenticity?
So it's not the only path. There's many, many paths, as most everybody knows, right? You don't have to take one path. But the path of the weird for me is it's very, very important. So weird versus weird is like weird. The etymology of it comes from WYRD, right? It's an Anglo-Saxon word with German roots. I love etymology. And if we look at it, it actually comes from like otherworldliness or magic, right? Like that's the etymology and where it comes from. And like the base is like from the beyond. Like Shakespeare even made it really popular. The Fates in Macbeth were actually the Weird Sisters, WYRD. So if we start looking at that and what it means to be weird, in our Western society, we think of it as something different or odd or off-putting. It's kind of gotten this like off-putting connotation. I'll tell people all the time, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm weird as fuck. And they'll be like, oh, don't say that about yourself. And I'm like, oh no, I say it with pride. I'm happy. I embrace my weird. I'm a very odd individual. And I love that about myself. And so my thought is if people were to think of like, what's the one thing that's like the most weird? Like, what would you say is the most weirdest thing about you?
I don't know. I think everything's so normal to me because it's me.
Yeah. If you were to talk to your
You know what is
parents,
weird though to other people? I just noticed it. I do that little chuckle that I just did. So people who don't know me, I do that chuckle like when nothing's funny. Like we'll be walking across the street and I'll just go ha 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 ha, ha. Right? Like now I'm like doing it because I'm laughing at myself. So see, that's so normal to me because it's authentically Vanessa. But anyway, go ahead. So hopefully that answers
Well,
your question.
and it does. And that's the point, right? Is something that others, if you're walking down the street chuckling to yourself, if you were in a shadow aspect of it, you might think, oh, people might be judging me for this, right? But that's just something that's in your core root of beingness. That's okay. And it's great. And it lights up a room. I felt the energy lift once you started laughing, right?
Yeah, amazing, amazing. And it's so funny because it's like for a while, it's like people had to point it out for me to realize that it was like a little different. And I'm like, oh yeah, it is. But I had already embraced it by that point. So I love it. Thanks for using that as an example. What is sacred disruption to you?
So during my stint as staying away from spirituality and all of that for quite a while, I was also a very large metalhead at the time, right? I loved punk music, but specifically metal, and there's always a rebellious quality to that kind of music, right? I still listen to it this day. It's very helpful for anger management. But the whole idea of being a sacred rebel is to be somebody that can see the travesties that are happening around us. Right now, it's a very, very potent time to be using this. We've got a lot of things that are politically not okay, or what others would think are not okay. Some people might be totally okay with them, and that's fine. We've got a lot of war happening in this world. I think we can all agree killing children is not cool. It's just not freaking okay.
Mhm.
And so the idea of sacred rebellion is, if you have the capacity, and this is only if somebody has the capacity to do it, but if you can sit and watch extreme acts and sit and hold space for it with love and compassion for both sides without taking a side specifically, like that is one of the most powerful acts of sacred rebellion that exist. Because with the divisiveness and with people fighting, it isn't one side or the other. My world in the subtle realms, there is no duality. There is no bad or good. There is no evil. There is no holy. It is just what it is. And so if you can kind of step back and go into that God space of being able to watch some of the stuff happening without being like, oh, you guys are terrible, right? You can say, hey, I don't agree with it, but you don't pass judgment on them, right? Like that's the key. You can be like, oh, I really don't like what this is happening. If you can figure out in your own body where that's sitting and how you don't like it in your own body, whether it's like a clenched shoulder or a closed off heart, or sometimes it'll make me physically ill to my stomach, but I sit with those sensations to recognize and to transmute that through my own body, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. And I don't know if you've thought about this, but what would be different about our world if more people gathered and did exactly what you just mentioned? They hold love and compassion for the disruption or whatever's happening without the judgment, without taking sides.
I mean, we saw this already happen. We saw this in the 60s and the 70s with the hippie movement, right? That's literally what they were doing. I mean, granted, a lot of it has been backlashed because of, the copious amounts of drug use or medicine use, whatever the heck you want to call it at this time. But the thing is they were doing that. There are communities that are still doing that. Heart Math Institute has been working on stuff with their coherence sessions. There's, gosh, I can't remember the name of them. There's Dance for World Peace. There's another one. Anytime any group of people, I mean, even in the Austin area, we have events like Medicine for the People, right? Any single time is people that are going to be gathered, that's going to happen. I'll even argue that places like Burning Man that have gotten a little bit more corporate are also doing it. It's happening. So we see it. It turns into large cultural movements and it expresses and expands people's ideas and the
Yes,
energy waves. Yeah.
yes, I so agree with you. And even with everything you just said, there still seems to be so much judgment. And just when I personally think, because I'm in my own little bubble, you guys, I am not like out in the world that much that often. I will admit, I am like a hermit locked in my little area in Tulum, Mexico. I mean, I'm not locked, but anyway, I don't do a lot of media things that often. But just when I think that there's less judgment in the world, something happens. And then it's like this new, and we just saw this happen in the last week or two. There's this new wave of judgment that I wasn't even aware of that could exist, and I see it play out all over again.
So I do timeline work, right? So one of my favorite pastimes is traveling different timelines. Think of it kind of like quantum leap or sliders, right? I like sliders a little bit better. Um, so I went to the timeline where Kamala had won. Guess what? It's boring. There's not much happening. Everything's still in the shadow. Everything's still underground. All the horrible stuff that was happening is still hidden. It's all still there. It's just not brought to the surface. So, trying to not get too political, I'm not a big fan of the current president, which is fine. Not my favorite person. And also, I was somebody that voted for change. And if you voted for change, guess what timeline you got stuck in? This one. Because for change to happen, and this goes back to our original conversation, Dark Night of the Soul. Are we in a dark night of the soul for all of humanity at this moment? And we kind of are. If you listen to some of the old school channelers like Dolores Cannon, she's been talking, and her guides have been talking about this for years and years and years, right? Like, yeah, hey guys, welcome. Welcome to the chaos because things have to go into the void, which is the feminine, which also creates all of creation. And we're rebuilding from here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So back to the judgment thing, how do you feel like this is playing out? Because yes, there's people who are holding that love and compassion for what is, right? And they're not judging. And then there's moments in society, like events, societal events that are happening now. And it feels like I don't know. To me, my limited perception for in the moment when I don't want to be an intuitive and I don't want to tap in, I just want to be human Vanessa, right? Like I'm just like, wow, people are still so locked in judgment, separation, blaming each other. This side did this side says this. How can you like this person? How can you honor this person's passing? Like all of this stuff. So, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I got big thoughts on this one. Right? So for me, it's all about consciousness, right? It's your own awareness to what's happening. So, yeah, you want to know what? I can be the biggest judgmental bitch that you have ever met. I'm good at it. But if I do it, I tend to do it consciously most of the time. Sometimes I slip, but I make a conscious effort to be judgmental, right? I choose when I'm going to be judgmental, right? We see this all in the shadows, right? If somebody has a sex addiction, it's normally because they're shaming themselves from having sex. People go out and murder people. You don't hear about metalheads murdering people. That's because we go to a mosh pit and we get our anger out in the mosh pit with other consenting adults that have all consented to punch each other in a pit, right? If we let it out and we let it out in a conscious and evolved way, freak, awesome. Like I can call my best friend and be like, "Ugh, I just want to vent and I want to talk about like these asshole mean girls that I met at this party and blah 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 blah." And I'll be like, "But I'm stating it to her and I'm asking for her consent to be a witness of that, right?" So I'm all for be judgmental. Be judgmental. Just make sure that you're doing it in a conscious way and not like some jacked up righteous way where you're like, "I'm better than them." It's like, "No, you aren't. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely aren't. None of us are."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So the subtle realms, there's so many names for it, but for anyone who hasn't heard that particular term yet, can you give us an intro into what that is?
No, that's like a 6-hour course, man. I'm like, what do you want to like? So my definition for the subtle realms
I
would
call it
be
the ethers. you
Well,
know?
yeah, but the ethers is all included. The dream states, the extra dimensions, the spirit world, the layers that are on top of this layer, the alien world, all of those. Like to me, the subtle realms is everything that's like an overlayment of the 3D world, which is literally everything.
Yeah.
Like, and also energy work, right?
Yes.
Like chi, that's part of the subtle realms. Like anything that is not 3D that we can touch, taste, smell, hear, or see is what I
Yeah.
would consider.
Beautiful. I think that's a great introduction for anyone who may not have heard that term. They're like, subtle realms. What? A realm? For you and I, we're just like, yeah, I've accidentally went to a couple of realms I wasn't supposed to be in, brought back some things with me too, had to get cleared, was out of commission for a week. For us, it's like, yeah, it's like our life at times. I'm in a phase where I feel like I'm kind of less in that world than usual. But anyway, but back to you. Actually, I would love to. This question's coming out of left field. What was your first or maybe most impactful experience with the subtle realms?
Choice. What was my most impactful? Because first would have been I probably would go back to the time I was 8 in my past life regression. I was the only kid. Well, I wasn't the only kid there. The rest of the kids were out getting to swim and play in the pool, and I went in for a past life regression with a room full of adults. Um, and it was soul
Wait a
changing.
minute, and you were 8 years old,
Hmm.
and you did a past life regression at 8.
Yeah, my father took me.
Whoa. Okay,
Yeah,
so now we got to hear the details on this.
yeah,
I've never heard of an 8-year-old doing that. That's amazing.
yeah. Well, it is, but it isn't. And now in retribution, I've introduced my dad to tantra, so that's so yeah, it's all the other kids were playing in the pool. I was in a full meditation with our meditation teacher. Probably I would say that there was probably at least 10 to 15 other adults in this home that we were all in. I like now that I'm going back and picturing it, I'm like, man, that like could have so easily been a cult. We could have been drinking some Kool-Aid real quick. And they led us through a past life regression during that time. And it was, standard past life stuff. If people are familiar, some of the more standard old school practices of past life is you would go down like a river or through a cave or through some sort of walkway or entryway that you would exit the current life that you're in the meditation and then come out on the other side in the next life. Like, and this one was specifically for our most recent life that we had previous to this one. And I woke up as a small child, and I had a spoon. I was very, very poor, and I had a spoon, and I was so proud of the spoon. My dad actually even bought me a spoon for Christmas one year, as a Christmas gift, and I bawled my eyes out, but it was my only possession in that life. And I ended up running away, and they shot me in the back. And at 8 years old, I had to be reborn and then die. And I remember I had pains in my shoulder that I was shot in. I can still feel it tingling to this day. It's not nearly what it was, but after that regression, I could physically feel physical pain in that shoulder as an
Mm,
8-year-old. Um, and I didn't really realize all of that and how strongly that shaped me and the trauma I still hold in my body from it. So that long
mm.
ago, I'm 42 now, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it's a thing.
And what meaning do you hold? And I don't mean a negative or positive meaning. It could be either neutral, whatever. But what does it mean to you now? What does that experience mean to you now?
I mean, because of that, I have a lot more availability. I do believe, I can't say anything for certainty, but I have a lot more availability to tag into past lives almost instantaneously. And I think of it almost, oh, this is just popping up, and I never had this idea. So thank you for asking that question. right? Kids, when they're young and they learn a second language, right? Even if they forget that second language, it's still way easier for them to relearn it or learn new languages later in life. And that's kind of what this feels like. Is because of that, I was like, now I'm like, we could just be talking to somebody. I'm like, oh yeah, you had this other life with this, and this. And they're like, how do you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. It just, I can see it. You can't, like, it's right, it's there. And they're like, yeah, that's a thing, you know. And there's a reason I call them other lives and not past lives too. So that's, yeah.
Yes, and is that because everything is happening all at the same time?
Yep.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Do you, as from intuitive to intuitive, do you still use the term past lives for the benefit of what other people can understand that to be?
Yeah, but I'm also autistic, so I'll be like past lives, but I don't call them past lives. I call them other lives, and this is the 3 hour long story as why.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Well, and so many of us intuitives are neurodivergent, whether that is ADHD or autistic. So wear it like a badge of honor, you guys, whoever else is out there, if you identify as neurodivergent in any capacity. Any thoughts on that, by the way, since that's coming up? Like our convo is like flowing and all the spirit is like directing our conversation in so many directions. I
I
love
got the
it.
chaos field wide open over here. I run mystery schools. That's the whole point of this. So yeah, no, it's the next evolution of man, right? And a lot of like that could be some real unpopular opinions. And also there's an incredible podcast called Telepathy Tapes. I don't know if you've listened to it. Absolutely exceptional. That follows a doctor through speaking to nonverbal people with autism. And they're not messing around. Like I've been able to connect right after listening to those. I was like, can I get to the hill? Like, and for those that have like listened to it, they'll understand. But it's pretty incredible. Like it's not pretty incredible, it's extraordinary. They are nonverbal and they're able to telepathically link to one another. And they have a meeting place that they all go to. And it's actually been scientifically proven, which my science brain loves a ton as well. Right? Like, okay, kind of scientifically proven. There hasn't been peer reviews and stuff, so I guess technically not. So there's enough evidence there to dig deeper, is all I'm saying.
Yes, and I've heard of those and I haven't listened to them. Back to your first statement because I'm really curious. What do you mean, and I'm paraphrasing for everyone listening, but if I'm misaligning something, please correct me. What do you mean neurodivergence is the next evolution or next path for all of us?
So, in my personal opinion, when you become to a point that the 3D is so sensory overloading, you have no place else to go. So you go to different places where you can, right? So that would be more of the subtle realms, right? That so many of us that are neurodivergent or or identify as neurodivergent, the exterior world is too loud energetically, too loud and in actual physical sense, too bright,
Way too bright.
way too bright sometimes.
Who else takes showers in the dark? We're both raising our hand if you can't see us.
Yeah, it's a
Everything's
thing.
way too bright.
Yeah. And, well, and that's the thing, right? It's when the 3D world gets to be almost too 3D, there's only one place else to go, which is the infinity, which is all the places else to go, which is the subtle realm.
Okay,
And
cool. So I want to make sure I'm not assuming something. Are you are you saying that we'll put it this way. Let me rephrase this. Can someone tap into the subtle realms in psychic abilities and channeling and all the gifts and not be neurodivergent to you from your
yes,
personal
yes,
perspective?
100%. Yes.
Okay.
Well, and that said, that there's almost a paradoxical. I think everybody's neurodivergent. Everyone.
Okay, I was going to get there if depending on your answer.
I mean, I think everybody's on spectrum in some way, shape, or form. It's just, are you willing
I
to?
kind of feel that way too. And So it's like, why do we have a spectrum? This is like raising some random questions
It's not a
for all
spectrum.
of us.
It's a circle, dude. It's a circle. It's not a
What
rainbow.
spectrum? Like,
It's not a rainbow. It is a full on Ouroboros snake eating its tail.
so it's like an astrology chart.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I understand the world in astrology. By the way, some of the best astrologers are neurodivergent.
Yeah.
Autistic, I'm ADHD. That's how I identify. Am I autistic? I don't know. Someone called me that last week, so I was just like, whatever.
Sure.
um, yeah, interesting. So, okay, let's wrap this up. I know we're having so much fun. So first, you said from your personal professional intuitive opinion, because you are a professional intuitive like myself. So first you believe in and just unpack this for us for so that way we could just we're only using labels, you guys, so we can kind of understand what we're talking about, and then you can drop all the labels if you would like. So you think that someone can tap into psychic abilities or intuitive abilities without identifying or being aware or whatever that they are neurodivergent.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
100%. I mean, that's what I do for a living. I got clients of mine that aren't that wouldn't identify as neurodivergent. I mean, granted, after like a week with me, we're both like,
Your energy is so fun. Yeah, okay. Okay, and let's tie up this piece before we move on. I have to kind of close loops, otherwise my brain goes crazy. I want to like, do you have any more context or more thoughts about your perspective on maybe we are all on the spectrum? Do you have any more context to that you want to share?
I mean, the thing is it is my perception that most of humanity is just masking, right? And to use, so that's a neurodivergent term for those that don't yet know. Masking is when we basically try to make ourselves be part of the flock, essentially. There's safety in numbers. We've been taught that we're mammals. We're like, oh, yeah, it's safe to be like others. So we attempt to be like others. There's something for the herd mentality and the herd immunity type deals, right? So, if that's what we're trying to do, well, my perception is, yeah, everybody's probably just masking a little bit and just trying to be, guess what? Normal, not different, the same. So, and everybody is, even the most normal people that I have met, there's something weird or like quirky about them or kinky about them or something that they keep in the shadows. Whether it
Mm,
be, an addiction to, tentacle porn or like they really love petting bunnies.
mm-hmm.
Like obsessively so, but everybody's got their little quirks.
Yes, but that doesn't define someone on the spectrum, though, does it?
I mean, not with how the spectrum's written right now.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm interested, is there a spiritual message around neurodivergence that you've either provided to someone before or you've received before or anything that you want to channel in the moment?
Just accept
Mm,
everything. Deny everything, refute everything, and also accept it. This is the paradox,
mm,
right? Question everything. Question this
mhm.
reality. Question where you are sitting right now. You don't know it. We literally could be in the Matrix. Literally. There's a reason why that movie was so popular.
Yeah,
We could be
right.
sitting on computer code right now and we don't really know.
Yeah.
And then also, I'm going to accept this chair is real because if I don't, my ass might be on the floor.
Right. Right, right, right. Yeah. Okay, beautiful. For me personally, I see my ADHD as a superpower because I've just been able to achieve a lot of things that, I don't know if I would have been able to do the same if I wasn't aware, if I didn't accept that I have ADHD, and also even when I didn't accept it, I look back and there were all the signs, right? So I was doing the thing anyway. Do you see your neurodivergence or autistic as a superpower and why?
Absolutely. I when I first when when somebody first was like, "Hey, dude, you're autistic," I'm like, "Huh." And I looked it up and I took all the tests and I was like, "Huh." And then I spoke to a psychiatrist and they were like, "Yeah, you're not bipolar, you're neurodivergent." I was like, "Huh." And then I read some books about it. I was like, "Oh, okay." And I fully accepted. Heck yeah, my presence is wild. I get told this often. I don't think when somebody's speaking because I'm paying such deep attention
Me
to
too.
them and
Yeah.
hyper focusing on them
I
that
am
I
so
don't
hyper
need.
focused.
Yeah, that I don't need to think about what I'm going to say. It's
See, and I thought that that
listening.
was normal though. So maybe being on the spectrum is the normal thing and this masking stuff is not. Now I'm convinced.
Maybe they're all masking. All the neurotypical people are masking being, I don't know. But that then it's just an us versus them thing.
Maybe the neurodivergence is like maybe it's our truest form of how our brain can function in all the realms, including the 3D. And then maybe, I don't know. I don't even know what to call the other group.
Yeah.
But it's but what if it's flipped? That's what I'm saying. What if it's flipped?
What is? I like, and what does it even matter? Like, what does it even
Good
fudging
question.
matter? Like, when push comes to shove, everybody's just a bunch of different weirdos, and it's great. Like, you just
Yeah,
you. Oh, are you hurting me? Are you trying to murder me? Are you trying to take away my autonomy? Okay, no, cool. We can be buddies. Like, I
yeah,
recently started talking to a dude, polar end of the spectrum on so many things and so many thoughts and like beliefs that I have specifically politically, but like spiritually, we're both the same. He's very, very Christian, very part of the whole like big like Jesus is coming back group. And I'm
hmm,
like, dude, he's already been here like 20 times. We just keep killing him. I'm just saying, right? So like we can find that middle ground. We can
yeah,
find what is the middle ground, guys? What is the middle ground? Oh, you guys both like petting bunnies. Cool. You guys
right.
both like watching tentacle porn. Cool. Like what is the middle like there's some sort of middle ground somewhere. I don't know why I'm obsessed with tentacle porn right now. Apologies.
It's entertaining. It's a new energy that has not been on the show yet. So thank you for bringing it in.
Hi.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. Yeah. Why does it matter anyway? I just think about, 10 years ago, being psychic, intuitive, energy healer was not fun. It wasn't accepted. It wasn't acceptable. People were shameful of it. And then also it was overwhelming. Like I remember my abilities coming online. I thought I was psychotic. I ran out of the grocery store because I was able to hear everyone's thoughts. And then I went to go drink because that was the only thing that I could self medicate with at the time. Right. So but it now with social media it's like somehow there was like a flip the switch flipped and it just became cool to do all the woo woo stuff. And so now are we faking it? No. I mean, a lot of us, it's those are that's us, right? Like, but the environment, it's just a lot more acceptable for us to be ourselves. And it's a superpower. So I'm just wondering if the same trend might be happening with neurodivergence. Is it's been seen or packaged or programmed to be this disability as if it's a liability, or if it's or as if it restricts us. And I'm not saying some people aren't restricted by it, because everyone is different, and I'm sure that some people are, but not everyone who classifies as neurodivergent feels limited or restricted by it. So I'm just wondering if there might be a trend where it one day becomes so acceptable everyone's just like owning it, but then that was them all along. It's just finally it was accepted for them to accept. That's my word salad. Let me know
I've
where you're at.
I've got it's I so I've hyper focused on one aspect of that. And this may be a little too subtle realms. I don't care. I'm going there regardless. There have always been psychics. There has
Yeah,
always been channels.
right.
Always. Since the beginning of time, I've got lineage back to, Delphi era. Like I used to hang out there. This has always been happening. It's where your awareness lies. And it's just the perception of that. Because you're saying, oh, it's more accepted now because we as humans, we automatically look for patterns and connections, right?
Mm-hmm.
So since you've accepted your own psychicness, as soon as you accepted your own psychicness, you started seeing a lot others being psychic,
Right. That's the code
right?
in the matrix. Yeah.
That's the code. That's the freaking code. So they have always been around. We also had a huge, in the 20s and 30s, there were so many channels. It was so popular. If you start really thinking about it, they've been around and we've been around through all space and time and all dimensions.
Yeah.
It's just where your perspective is sitting at the time, right? I lived in Austin. I'm kind of partially still living in Austin ish. When I went to Austin when I was younger, I was an alcoholic and I did drugs, I did all sorts of stuff. My perception of Austin was 6th Street and alcohol and drugs and piercings and tattoos and hoax death metal pizza. It used to be great. They closed down sadly. That was my perception. When I grew and I evolved, I got back to Austin. And now I know about places like Casa, and I have a whole spiritual group and family there. I know a bunch of tantrikas. I know a bunch of channels. I go to these incredible festivals with hardly anybody ever drinks anything. Those two Austins still exist here and now in this same timeline. But my perception is here now.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not just that it's gotten more popular. It's your awareness because your own self accepting opens that awareness in that bubble and that circle more.
Beautiful. Well said. I love that. Love it, love it, love it. So now I want to shift gears. Some people feel lost and crazy on their spiritual path, or they feel like they're losing it, right? Or they feel like they're, I don't know, losing some sort, maybe their sense of self or their sanity. Um, do you have any comments on that? Any message for those folks?
Yeah, that's my bread and butter. Hi, guys. I love you. Like, welcome. Welcome to the weirdness. Because the thing is, right, if you are able to show your weirdness, and we've seen this in geek culture as well, right? If you admit how much of a Trekkie you are, you're going to find other Trekkies. You admit how much of a spiritualist you are, you're going to find other spiritualists. You say, I talk to dead people. Once in a blue moon, you'll get somebody like me that goes, oh, me too. You want to chat about it? And that's how you find your community. So the people that feel like they are crazy, let me tell you, you're not. This entire existence is crazy. You aren't crazy. This existence is wild and it's nuts and it's absolutely over the top. And it is. But you yourself, you're not crazy. I have friends of mine and clients of mine that would be thought of being paranoid schizophrenics because they hear voices. And I'm like, have you ever asked, what do those voices want? Right. And because it's been demonized, like it normally slides into the demon and like those evil realms. And I'm like, hey, can you guys just like sit with them for a little bit and like for real hear them out? It's pretty incredible when that happens and when they're able to and under safe, guidance and whatnot. I'm not saying I'm the person for it. There are holistic psychotherapists that can help you. But that's the thing. It's like nobody's crazy. I'm definitely not crazy. And at the same time, I'm batshit crazy. And both are okay.
Yes, I love it. Oh, what a strong, like that's like a bulletproof perspective to have. When you can believe in both things, nothing or no one can shake your reality because it's like you're like, yes, that's true. And then this is true. And then that's true, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what's beautiful about this world. I mean, we are living in a dichotomous 3D world where there is black and white, there is shadow and light. And to be able to see all the sides of the elephant, right? There's that whole story of like the blind men touching the elephant and the trunk and the tail, and everybody has their different perspective. But if you just drag your hand around that elephant with consent, of course, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting stuff. So as we start to wrap up, you help people with deep intuitive development. And I know you have a one-on-one container for that. But what is that for someone who may not know what that means?
So essentially, what it is I work with people that already know that they have a gift of some sort, right? They're the people that are like, I'm pretty sure I talk to dead people, or I'm pretty sure I talk to aliens, or like, I have these weird dreams all the time. And, uh, like people that are just like, yeah, or oh, I channeled the other day. I'm pretty sure I channeled the other day. I'm like, okay, come on over here, like those that have just kind of like woken up to it and are like, yeah, the ones that are like, oh, I think I'm crazy, or I think this is weird, or I think this is different. I'm the one like, I don't care who you are or who you're talking to. You could be sitting there being like, yeah, I'm talking to the devils every day. I'm like, cool. What are they saying? Like, there's nothing you can say that's going to really shock me. Trust me, my 4 and 6 year old try to do it all the time. There's nothing you can say that will actually shock me. So I open up such a space that if everything is normalized and everything is good, you're free to talk about all of it. Then we can choose, right? You can make the choice. What kind of clair do you want to go in, right? We have clairsentient, clairaudient, claircognizant. Like there's all these different clairs, which is just kind of like psychic speak for how it shows up in your system. Me, I'm claircognizant and I'm clairsentient, which means I know and I feel. I have all of them, but those are my two specifics. I know you are clairvoyant since you've already said you've seen things, right? So everybody has a different clair. So we identify what clair, if they don't already know it, we help, work with them to help them identify which clair that is. And then we dig further into that. I've got clients all over the board. I've got witches and authors and pharmacists and massage therapists and vocal coaches and IT people. Like
Love it.
it's everybody does this stuff.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So if you really like, if this episode really resonated with you, I have a feeling like this is going to be, I have a feeling like it's going to resonate with exactly who it needs to. And maybe that might be a good amount of people as well. So make sure you connect with Io. Did I say it right?
No.
Ayo.
EO.
Io. Oh my
Ready? You,
goodness.
you, you,
Okay.
you. Kind of
If,
sounds like
if
you.
Okay, so if you really connected with her, I'm going to give you her website. So it's IOASHMISAKO.com. Also, just go down in the description box. It's right there. You can click directly on it along with her Instagram and her Facebook. And like we mentioned, she has her one-on-one containers. Is there anything else you want to mention about your container, that one offer? And then after that, I would love to hear either a book recommendation or a powerful quote, and we'll end on that note.
Okay, so with that, yeah, just to come talk with me. I have alignment calls, like that's what I do. Like, just come talk with me. We'll know within the first few seconds if you're going to jam. Just by watching this, they'll know if they're going to jam with me. Period. If you like me, come talk to me. If you don't like me, bye. And then let's see. Oh gosh, book recommend. Oh, shoot, there's so many. And what was the other one? Book recommendation or
Or
what?
book rec or quote. You could do both or one or the other, whatever floats your boat.
Okay, I'm definitely gonna go book rec. And since I've been reading Herman Hesse, I'm gonna say Siddhartha. I'm also gonna say the Four Agreements because that always needs to be mentioned. And since we've been really, really psychic, only those that are gonna really pick up on this are gonna get this one. But Sorcerer's Crossing.
Okay.
I'm just let's sprinkle that little seed
I
there.
haven't read that one. I might
Not
tap
many,
in on that.
not many have.
Sorcerer's Crossing.
Mhm.
Who's it by?
Tasia Abelar, she's part of the Castaneda School.
Okay. Beautiful. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, and your wisdom. This was so much fun.
Yeah, thank you. I love doing a podcast. My favorite thing is to just talk all day, every day.
Yeah, yeah. And you're such in your own energy. Yeah, you're in your own energy. And when we're in our own energy, it's like this is not a chore. This is like playtime,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Like this is so much fun. Let's play this all day.
Yeah, yeah. Especially when two people are in their authentic self. Sometimes we encounter one person and the other person halfway, but you could you know your tribe. You know when you come across another person where we're just like in the weirdness or authentic self, however you want to phase it. So thank you guys for tuning in. Namaste and have a great day.